All right, we're back. So, talking about
Coon Prairie Ramblers.
Almost live.
Yeah.
talk radio. So, one of my
Talk
favorite
radio.
programs I've always looked forward to, and it doesn't air anymore, on Sunday evenings was A Prairie Home Companion with Garrison Keeler.
Garrison Keeler. You know, I listened to that some, and he made that seem so real when he was talking about the town folk. You update on what's happened with this one or that one, and that you just felt warm and fuzzy when you were listening to
Lake
it.
Wobegon.
Yeah.
Lake Wobegon.
Guy,
Guy Noir.
Noir, yeah.
Yes.
Guy Noir. He was the undercover agent, is what he was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Well, that was a kind of a throwback to a theater of the mind that the people had before television. You had radio, so people would tune in for all these shows. That some of them carried over and became television shows when TV came out. But back then, you had this like the theater of the mind, where you had suspense stories, you had comedies, and you had people doing sound effects, and people had to sit. They sat around and watched the radio.
And they had that white-headed guy who did all the sound effects.
Yep.
You know, things like that, and you know, the sharks coming, boom, 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 boom. I mean, that's all he did was sound effects.
Horses clopping by and gunshots and doors slamming.
One of my favorite episodes was what he did. It was called Church Birds or Church Birds. It was these birds that was in church, and you know, and he was of the Lutheran persuasion.
Yeah.
And he always talking about the Lutheran Church.
Right.
And it was these birds got into church, you know, and then it was the whole story.
They had such a vibrant program that it would just take you to another place. I'd be driving a tractor, and I would just always look forward to that, because that hour would just go by like the twinkle of an eye.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing.
He had a great radio voice too.
Yeah.
I guess he's still alive.
But he's old.
Did they make a movie about that, or a movie similar to it, based on the Home Prairie Companion?
Yeah.
I want to say they did that, and some of the characters were in that.
Yeah. And then they always had special guests, you know, like, like movie stars, and Willie Nelson. He was saying that was one of the highlights of his career was to be on the Coon Prairie Ramblers.
Now we can get Willie in here.
If only Garrison Keeler could make it here, then he would have finished his career.
That's exactly right. His life would be complete.
Yeah, I'd give him this seat here. You could open it up.
Maybe you should reach out to him and let him know that opportunity could be available.
He might be listening. Who knows?
He might want to retire to sunny Florida.
He might already be here. We don't know.
And stick his toes in the Peace River.
It's got to be warmer than Lake Wobegon.
That's right.
Is that supposed to be like Wisconsin or somewhere? Where was that?
Minnesota.
Minnesota,
yep. Somewhere up there.
Where the children are all above average.
Yeah.
Well, can't say that about us down here, but...
Oh, yeah, that was great. And that was our superintendent. That was one of his favorite shows. In fact, he told me, complimented, said, Coon Prairie Ramblers reminded him of...
Terry, you're talking about?
No, Adrian.
Well, Adrian Klein.
He must have been really wanting you to do something for him.
He's listening. He said he listens.
we might be inclined to do so. You never know. We can be bought. Everybody's got their price.
I do listen to all types of talk radio, though. I've been raised a conservative, raised in church, and so I have very strong values. But I do value getting both sides of it. So I listen to a decent. This may upset my dad when he hears this, but I do listen to some of the liberal media as well.
Cover your ears, Joel.
Yeah. Well, you got to know what the balance is. You got to know what you're up against there.
Well, if you're on Facebook, you can't hardly get away from what the liberals are saying. Cause,
you can.
Because you could delete all of them, but then you got your conservative friends posting the stupid stuff that the liberals put on.
Yeah.
So you're going to get it one way or the other.
And then we have one friend, a mutual friend, and on one hand he's conservative, on the other hand he's liberal. So he's he's atheist, but he's he's pro-Trump.
Yeah. And that's not to say that the conservatives don't put some really far out junk out there too. I mean, it's kind of a two-edged sword.
Right.
Yeah. You can't. not everybody can be smart.
Well, you got to know what.
And not everybody can be right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. But you got to know how to take things with a grain of salt. You got to have thick skin, and you got to recognize baloney when you smell it.
An old timer told me one time, and I've increasingly become aware of it and appreciated it. He said, "Son, one day you'll get old enough to know what you don't know."
Ooh,
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom
That's
wrapped up
good.
in that little line right there. Wow. Well, life should be like a learning process anyway, because Life 101 is always in session, and there's always pop quizzes jumping up in front of you. You got to be ready for them.
Yeah, and then you get to a certain point and you realize, whoa, I was totally wrong on that all those years.
Right.
Or,
If you don't learn some things, you may have to relearn them or learn them from a different angle. Because life's going to teach you some lessons whether you want it or not.
Very true. And the ones that come the hardest are generally some of the best.
And the ones you remember the most.
are those the ones that ouch the most?
That too.
Yeah.
They leave marks on you.
Yeah.
on your backside or on your heart, one.
Very
On your
true.
brain.
A lot of
That's
mistakes.
it.
Did you have a lot of mistakes in your life?
Oh, well, I better not say, but yeah, I got away with a lot more than I should have. I'll put
Yeah.
it that way. But I mean, never anything criminal. I never did anything like that. But being mischievous and things like that, of course. Yes.
Oh, I've got so many things I'm ashamed of.
True confession.
Yeah. Even there's a business deal that plagues my mind. And I've prayed about it and stuff like that. But it's just the fact that I did the wrong thing, and it's hurt me. It's just hurt me. That I did it, or knowing that I hurt that guy.
It bothers you still? Well, you go to that guy and you apologize to him.
Well, I
and,
did. I
there
did
you
it.
go. You're
I did.
absolved of
Yeah.
it. It's behind you.
It's just
It's baggage. If you're carrying it around still, you lay it down and walk away.
That's right.
What you got to do. Otherwise, it'll haunt you the rest of your life, and that ain't good.
So business-wise with you, JC, has been pretty good so far? You've made all the good decisions, or?
We try hard every day, and we still make some mistakes every day. But God's been good to us, and some of the most valuable lessons that I've ever learned in business were through the depths of that recession.
I heard that.
Those were some building blocks laid on how to run a lean operation and how to make good money management decisions that are now, those lessons are paying off really well now that the times are good and there's a lot of opportunity. So I'm thankful for the recession and the lessons learned.
Gives you an appreciation for life and
Absolutely.
how to do, what to do, what not to do and stuff. Because you only know the good or whatever. You can't handle it when the bad comes along.
So another old timer, I think everything I've ever learned that's of any value has been from an old timer, not ever from a peer.
There
But
you go.
he told me, he said, "Son, business is like musical chairs. Always plan to have a seat when the music stops." And how
I like
true
that
that is.
You're right.
Talk about the wisdom from old timers. When I read something, spiritual stuff or theological stuff written, I always go to the people that's dead, like A.W. Tozer or the ones that that and you can see what their life was and it ended up right, or okay. And I think those are the ones I listen to. The people that are alive today, they can still mess up.
That's right. And it's sad in a way that most people turn to their peers when you don't realize that the old people are the ones that have most of the answers, but nobody really ever asks them what the answer is.
That's right. Another adage that I've heard from one of my mentors is he said, "Son, if I could take my experience and the lessons that I've learned and put them into a young man, say 20 years old or anywhere to 30, he said you could win the world with it."
That's right. When we know stopping them.
Yep.
Wow.
But we just don't always look. We don't look. We
We don't
think.
appreciate it. We don't appreciate it. But it's like they say, every time an old man dies, a library burns down.
Yeah.
That's an African adage or proverb. Well, anyhow, we're out of time for segment 3, so y'all hang tight and we'll be back in a few. Bye.